Welcome. You are listening to the Louie Minor Show. I'm your host, Commissioner Louie Minor. Today is August 5th, 2023. I have a lot to catch you up on, so let's get started. Let's begin with the August 7th Commissioner's Court agenda. The beginning, we have the invocation, Pledge of Allegiance, consent agenda items. We have considered the minutes of the July 24th and July 31st meeting of the Commissioner's Court, personnel budget amendments, claims, accounts payable, payroll, restitution, jury pay. And we have item D, consider authorizing the county judge to enter into a contract between Bell County and McCreary, Velset, Bragg, and Allen, PC, Attorneys at Law, MVBA, for the collection of delinquent Texas Alcoholic Beverage Commission fees due to Bell County to be collected by the county tax assessor collector. E, consider ratification of the agreement between the county judge has executed with Academy ISD for 4 resource school officers. F, consider authorizing the county judge to execute an agreement with Holland ISD for 1 school resource officer. G, authorize the county judge to apply for unclaimed capital credits for counties pursuant to Local Government Code 381.004 and Texas Property Code 74.602. That is everything for the consent agenda. And we have item 4, County Engineer, consider and approve a final plat of Burkhart Addition, being a 1 acre, 1 lot, 1 block subdivision located in Precinct 1. B, consider and approve a final plat of Rios Addition, being .5729 acres, 1 lot, 1 block subdivision located in City of Belton, ETJ, Precinct 1. Consider and take appropriate action on order restricting outdoor burning, the burn ban. Item 6, consider the appointment of truancy master. So that is everything for the regular meeting. Now for our workshop, immediately following that meeting, we have staff reports from various county offices, capital improvement project updates, jail expansion, temporary jail facilities, the museum archives building, Colleen Annex, and then FY 2023 CIP projects. We have discussed the Bell County Historical Commission bylaws by Mr. Elder. He's the chair of the Historical Commission. Then we have the discuss adoption of the fire code. I put that on the agenda. Discuss merit pay. That is the county auditor that has that on the agenda. And then we have some meetings that some of the commissioners may or may not attend. I have August 14th, the Bell County Republican Party executive meeting. August 15th, we have a Colleen Town Hall with U.S. Congressman August Pfluger. 16th, we have a Conference on Urban Counties meeting. 24th, we have Hill Country Transit Board meeting. The 24th, the retirement celebration for Dr. Mark Negliziano at the Central Texas A&M. He's retiring. And then we have August 30th, the beginning of the Texas Association of Counties Legislative Conference down in Austin. That is everything that I see on the agenda for meetings. So what I want to do now is just catch you up on what's been going on since we last left you. I've been pretty busy going to conferences. The last show that I did, I was going to the Texas Association of Counties conference down in Galveston. And then right after that, I went to the National Association of Counties down annual conference, and that was in Austin. So it was really great, both of those events, networking with other elected officials across the state and NACo at the officials from across the country. So it was really, really informative. Learning what people are doing, elected officials are doing across this country and across this state. So it was really informative for me, and I was glad to be there and represent Bell County. Now the Texas Association of Counties, all the commissioners, the entire commissioners court went to that. The National Association of Counties event in Austin, I was the only one there for the opening ceremony. At least I didn't see any of the other commissioners there or the judge, but I did see the county judge there on Saturday and Sunday's event. So, yeah, like I said, really, really good. I really enjoy going to these things and networking and meeting, like I said, other elected officials. So let's go back to the last meeting that I had the podcast on, where we were talking about the fire marshal's office. That did not pass. That did not go through, unfortunately. And I was really impressed by the support that showed up for the fire marshal to move him out of the sheriff's department, and primarily the fire chief for the city of Killeen attended, and he lives out in the county, so he was there speaking on behalf of the county, or as a resident of the county, not as the Killeen fire chief. But he said something that was very interesting. You know, one of the commissioners, Precinct 3 Commissioner Schumann, said that he doesn't want to have to go pull a permit if he wants to wire his barn or wire something in his house, and that he's tired of government regulation. And let me play for you what the chief said. It was very, very informative.
Next person I have is James Kabinski. And again, state your name and your city, and you have 5 minutes. Welcome, sir.
Good morning, Judge and Commissioners. My name is Jim Kabinski, 431 Stanton Drive in the county. I'm a county resident. I need to make clear that my statements today are not a reflection of the city of Killeen, as I currently serve as the fire chief for the city of Killeen. They are as a member of the Bell County Fire Chiefs Association and as a resident of the county. First and foremost, I believe this was a step backwards last year. All the statements that have been made, a fire marshal's office is separate from a police department. It would be like my rescue squad showing up that doesn't have hose and saying, we're going to put pumps on your rescue squads. And now what do you do when you pull up at the house? Do you pull a hose line or do you go and rescue people? Fact of the matter is, it's a clear and separate division. Secondly, as a representative of the safety committee for my homeowners association, I've had 2 residents come to me and say, who do I contact to talk about the brush piles that need to be taken care of in front of our subdivision? I've gone to the county website and I have no way to know who I'm supposed to call, because citizens aren't going to go and look for the Bell County Sheriff's Office when they have a fire issue. That's a big concern. Lastly, with regards to International Fire Code, I have to respectfully disagree with the fact that in the county we need less government. Fact of the matter is, firefighters die because international fire codes aren't used. Citizens die because international fire codes aren't used. And that's what they're there for. They're not there to make government bigger. They're there to protect people who live in houses that perhaps a six flat that just caught fire not too long ago this morning that resulted in fatalities most likely, that may not have followed current fire codes of sprinklers or fire alarms. Even if sprinklers aren't required, a fire alarm that's required saves a life. A fire alarm that has to be maintained by somebody who owns multi-unit occupancy saves lives, and that's what's most important, not budgets. I would gladly pay 4 times the amount to have a fire marshal who has inspectors. I personally am fighting for inspectors in my city, and we work on it incrementally year over year. I don't think Fire Marshal Malstead's intent was ever to have 4 people added to his budget immediately. As fire chiefs or fire marshals, we work to build out our budget for 5 years down the road and try to get ahead of the growth. And last but not least, the growth in the county with the Turnbow Ranch subdivision that's going up, with the Three Creeks subdivision, all these residential structures, we need to ensure that the fire marshal is separate. As the fire chief, I was asked, would you allow a couple of Bell County Sheriff's Office investigators to come and shadow your fire marshal's office since you're the busiest fire marshal's office in the county? My answer was yes. That was over a year ago. And I've yet to have any investigator come and shadow any of my fire investigators during an investigation in any of the fires. I think investigators in a sheriff's office are imperative and important, and they have other issues that they have to tend to, and typically fire issues are going to become a little bit lower priority, especially if there wasn't a crime or if there wasn't a death related to the fire. If the cause and origin is still imperative to us, so that we as fire chiefs, as fire marshals, can build out the future and say, how can we be safer communities and be see less fires in our community? So the fact of the matter is, putting it under the sheriff's office has not been working. I have a couple of residents who could not find how to get a hold of the fire marshal. The number, to be honest, knowing the number doesn't really matter. It's really knowing that fire marshal. And then what happens? What happens when a large criminal activity happens here? Now, does our fire marshal get pulled away because he's just another investigator in the sheriff's office, and he gets now tasked with other workloads when we know his workload should be double what it is already because we don't have the international fire codes adopted in the county? Thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir.
I could not say it better myself. Thank you, Chief Klebinski from the Killeen Fire Department for those words of support. Even though the Commissioner's Court did not vote to remove the fire marshal from the Sheriff's Department, so it's the status quo. But I still think that there are things that the fire marshal needs to be doing. That's why, if you recall the workshop that I mentioned earlier, it's the adoption of the fire code to Bell County. That's going to allow us to do a couple of things. One is to regulate and permit commercial, industrial, and multifamily housing units that are built out in the county and make sure that they fall under the International Building Code, Fire Code, I'm sorry. And so that's going to be a big step for the county, especially with all the anticipated growth that we have coming with Turnbow Ranch, with Solana Ranch, and probably 5 or 6 more other MUDs that are coming to the county. So the other item that was on the agenda from the last show was the flag, the Confederate statue, and the pride flags. I did not get a motion second. That item died, but there were a lot of complaints about me having the flag there. And there's a conservative online, I guess, news outlet called the Texas Scorecard, and they've been following this. And so they talked about the flags and how I'm flouting the the policy. And then they got a comment from the county judge. And let me read the comment to you. What our county judge told the Texas scorecard, that Judge Blackburn told the Texas scorecard that he's engaging with legal counsel, but remedies available to the county appear to be limited. I have previously advised Commissioner Minor that his actions are in violation of our policy relating to the use of county property, that it is not to be used for personal political use, and asked him to relocate the flags accordingly. He has demonstrated that he will not comply, and we are now left to how to deal with a non-compliant elected official's actions. If it were an employee of the county, we would terminate their employment. However, since Commissioner Minor is an elected official, neither I nor the Commissioner's Court has the authority to fire him. Ultimately, it may well be a matter that the voters of Precinct 4 need to address, Blackburn said. This whole flag policy, this is all stemming from the Commissioner's Court's amendment to that policy that Judge Blackburn and myself voted against adopting. He didn't say that, but I'm not. It's not personal political speech. If it was personal political speech, that is protected. That is protected. We have case law saying that personal political speech is protected. But since I'm a government official in a government building, that is government speech, which can be regulated. We all agree on that. But they see that I'm not in compliance with the county policy. I see that I am in compliance with the county policy. And I think the exact opposite, that them allowing the Confederate statue to remain on the county property is not in compliance with our new policy. So I think they're the ones in the wrong on that issue. And they will continue to be wrong on that issue. And I guess the other thing I'll talk about real quick that's on the agenda for the meeting, not the workshop, the regular agenda item, is consideration. Consider the appointment of truancy master. We had a job posting for that position. The job requirements, job skills were very broad. And by broad, I mean whatever qualifications to get elected to the office of Justice of the Peace. That's what we put in. So we had over almost 200 people apply for that position. And we got it down to, I believe it was 5 or 6 people that we interviewed, and we made a selection of that person. So that's who we will be appointing on Monday, the new truancy master. I don't know if I'm at liberty to say the name because I don't think it's been released publicly, so I will reserve that for a later show. But just let it be known that it's the person that had the most qualifications and experience out of the group that we interviewed, that we thought would fit best with the county, with the population, the population that we'll be dealing with, juveniles that are truant from school for a variety of reasons, personal reasons, military reasons, poverty, sickness. It's a lot of reasons why kids wind up falling through the cracks and not going through school. So I think this person is going to be a good asset to be able to communicate with these individuals, with the families, and we have nowhere to go but up from there on that truancy master. So hopefully everything will work out and that we made the right choice. But if not, the Commissioner's Court appointed that person, this position, and we can always appoint another person if it doesn't work out. So that is something that's a possibility. But like I said, I think we made a good choice. Everyone agreed. By everyone, I meant all the commissioners agreed. County judge agreed that this was the best fit for the county and for the citizens. So kudos and good luck, and we'll get them appointed and hopefully sworn in on Monday. We'll see. So I guess now what we'll do is switch over and talk about the budget a little bit. This won't be a full presentation like I want to do because we haven't did it for the county yet. But once we do that, I'll go into details, things that I think are important, requests that were made and denied, everything that I took away. I took copious notes. I had the IT department send me every workshop that we had where the budget was discussed during our budget meetings, just so I want to be able to recall stuff like that. Like I said, take notes and be able to go over some of that stuff. But the budget will be presented on August 14th at 9 a.m. And then shortly after that, I'll do a show about that here. I'll probably like to try and do a town hall about the proposed budget for Bell County. And I know I had some citizens complaining to me that they don't know what's going on with the Clean Annex. People are, the rumor mill is starting to go around that, people are hearing that it's not going to be built. They tore the bank down for nothing. And so I want to, let the people know, keep them informed that we are going to build the annex. And I want them to be informed on their budget for the county that they're being taxed on and what their tax dollars is going to get them. So there'll be another show on that. We'll talk about the salaries for all the elected officials, merit pay that the county's doing, all of these other issues that I'm seeing how the county is working, and so that'll be in the next 2 weeks probably. We'll have a show just on the budget alone. So we just go over some news that's been happening since the last show. Here recently this week, the former president, Trump, was indicted for the January 6th insurrection, inciting that. And sounds like a pretty strong case. All these cases are starting to accumulate. People are getting confused. I don't even know how many cases he has against him. I think the next case that everyone is speculating that's going to come out is from Georgia, his election interference in Georgia, whenever he called down there and was talking about needing to find 11,000 votes. And if the Secretary of State could find 11,000 votes for Donald Trump, because he said he knew that he won Georgia. But if you know you won Georgia, then how are you going to be looking for 11,000 votes? Then I also heard that there was a Sidney Powell, one of the possible co-conspirators in the indictment, that she sent a tech company to a county, and I forgot the name of the county, in Georgia, and they copied every hard drive and server that they had for ballots, and no one knows what happened to that equipment. Now, the company that did happened to all that data that they copied, the company that they said, the company that did all the copying and capturing of all that information, they said they just assumed that it was legal because they had an attorney directing them to go do it. So they're hands off, but no one knew where any of that information is, where it's at, where it went. But what I think is agreed upon is that that's probably illegal, and it's probably against the law. So it'll be interesting. They're all on the news channels. They've been showing barriers going up, roads closing in and around the courthouse there in Atlanta, where the president would have to go turn himself in. So maybe within the next week or two, he'll have another indictment on that. I think the Republican presidential debate is going to be coming on the 15th or 16th. I have to check, but I will watch that because I want to hear what they're saying. And even through all these indictments, President Trump has a 30-point lead over the next highest rated candidate, which is DeSantis. So he appears not to be bothered by all of these indictments. And Republicans, I guess, are going to, they voted for an multi-indicted Ken Paxton, Attorney General. They have a history of doing that since 2014. So I'm sure they'll be more than willing to indict or vote for a president that has multiple indictments. We see that history here. Also, the federal government is suing the governor of Texas for the buoys that were found, or that they put along the border on the Rio Grande. And there was a article that came out this week as well in reference to the buoys, that a body was found stuck in the buoys. Now just think about that. A body stuck in the buoys. These are people fleeing hostility, death, hunger, and to make it all the way over here and drown with razor wire wrapped around you and a buoy. What a shame. How inhumane is that? So, yeah, that something like that just makes my stomach turn, and I hope that a judge looks at that, and federal judge, and gets that removed. The One other thing in regards to the buoys and all that stuff. Apparently, Eagle Pass, where in the city of Eagle Pass, where DPS I guess they're using a park for a big staging area. They closed off the park from businesses. Keep in mind, this is a public park. From businesses, from residents going out there and enjoying that park. It's been closed off under control of DPS. And apparently they did that through a memorandum of understanding or some type of agreement that the mayor signed, saying that this public park is private land and that he wants the state of Texas to enforce no trespassing on that private land. But it's not. So that was rescinded, and now the city is demanding the troopers to remove themselves from the park so the citizens can have access to the park. I don't know if they plan to or not, but I have heard reports, multiple reports, that the Texas Tribune and some other Texas reporters have been following, that even private landowners that have gave consent to the state of Texas to come and put barriers and put fences and shipping containers on their property, once DPS gets there and they don't like what they're seeing, they ask DPS to leave, and DPS is refusing. So much for private rights. Once you give consent, I don't know what they signed. Maybe it has a time frame on it or not. I don't know, but I don't think it's in their history, at least from what was being shown, that they're willing to leave after infrastructure has been put in. So now we'll do a little local news. Stuff's been happening. For City of Killeen, they finally appointed someone to fill the vacancy for Ken Wilkerson, who resigned from his position earlier in the year. I think it took him like 2 months before they made a selection, but they went with a familiar face. They appointed Riacos Adams back to City Council. He was appointed to fill Mayor Debbie Nash's seat and lost during the election to Councilman Joseph Solomon, and he got reappointed to fill this vacancy. Now, this vacancy will be up for election next May. So he got a couple of months. It'll be at large, so it'll be the top 3 vote getters, because that'll be Councilman Segarra, Alvarez, and Adams. So they wanted someone there, from my understanding, that had the experience of going through the budget process and all that. So congratulations to him. I look forward to working with him on some initiatives for both the county and the city, and just keep chugging along. Also, first day of school is fast approaching. We have Killeen ISD beginning school on August 14th. And I know a lot of the other schools in the area, Belton ISD, Salado, Temple, Troy, Rogers, they all will be starting, I believe, that same week as well. So it's about to start getting busy in the mornings, traffic, buses, children running around at school bus stops. So be vigilant enjoy the week of no traffic, because usually when school starts back up, especially, there's a lot of traffic everywhere, buses and people. So let's end on a high note and look at 2024 locally at the local elections. So we'll have the beginning of 2024, we'll have some municipal elections. Killeen, they're going to have the mayor and at-large city council members. There'll be a couple of people from Killeen ISD, Harker Heights, up for re-election. Stacy Wilson will be one of those. We'll be supporting her. And then we have, well, let's go back to the end of this year, 2023. We have the filing period for the primary elections that happen in March. So we'll see who'll be on the ballot. I do know, we got several candidates that are going to be running locally on the county and working real hard. We're developing a plan to obviously get more Democrats out and start getting some W's in our column. It's definitely been great working with other organizations that are interested in Bell County and moving forward. Look at the Fort Bend model, Fort Bend County, Hayes County, even Williamson County. Those are the models that Bell County Democrats are trying to replicate and working real hard to replicate. If you take a tidbit of what's been going on since I'd say since 2016 here in Bell County, you start seeing positions flip. Started with Dr. Brown, Claudia Brown, when she won the JP spot. Now we have Precinct 4. Every elected official in Precinct 4 is a Democrat. And Harker Heights, in this last runoff election, we had the Democratic Party and the Republican Party supporting their candidates, and the Democratic Party candidates won. So we see that trend. We're seeing a trend. So now we need to start engaging and replicating that stuff on the east side of the county. And that's what a lot of the meetings, talking has been about. So some exciting things coming. Like I said, we're working really hard. Individuals are working really hard, but they're at least on the Republican side, their county chair stepped down because he wants to run for Congress, and that's what he did. We're going to have, just off the top of my head, I know we're going to have an open Precinct 3 commissioner seat because Commissioner Schumann said he's not running for re-election. So that's an open primary. I'm sure there's going to be multiple people running for that seat. That's Temple, Troy, and Rogers that is in that position. Sheriff, I know there's going to be multiple people running for sheriff, at least in the primary. I don't know if there's going to be a candidate right now on the Democratic side. There may be. Let's hope so. But for sure, I know you can see the sharks swimming around the current sheriff, because there's been talks that he's going to retire, he's going to run again. And, I've heard both, but I do know multiple people have expressed interest in running for sheriff that I've heard. Then we have a district court judge, Jack Jones, the 146th District Court, announced that he is not running for re-election. He's going to retire. And from my understanding, there are 2 individuals running for that position as of now. There may be more, but as of right now, there's just 2 people that are actively interested in that position. I actually met one of them. It's a woman. I forgot her name, but I met her at the Coffees with a Cop in Killeen. So that was good meeting her. And yeah, so like I said, there's a lot of things going on, and we will only know more as the elections nears. Especially, I said it's August, so we only got till December for the filing period. So yeah, a lot of unanswered questions will be answered pretty quick. So thank you for listening. Like I said, I just want to apologize for not being as consistent with the shows as I should. Like I said, I'm a one-person show. So all the traveling and training and stuff like that. But I said, my job is to get the other point of view out of what's going on at your commissioner's court level. Let you know what's going on in your county government and how, in my opinion, things are going right or going wrong. And like I said, I appreciate you listening, and I will talk to you next week. And we are out of here.